If you've had bariatric surgery or you're using one of the new anti-obesity medications, but you're experiencing hunger, don't worry. It doesn't mean something is wrong or broken. It's a normal body cue, and we're going to talk about it more in this video. My name is Steph Wagner. I'm a bariatric surgery dietitian. You can find me at bariatricfoodcoach.com. So hunger is as natural as thirst or feeling cold or hot or having to go to the bathroom. It's a natural body cue to signal that we need something. We don't want you to be fearful of it. We want to honor hunger and learn from it and see what we need to better control it so that you can feel more confident in what you're eating and when you're eating it. So in this video, I'm going to cover common reasons why patients experience hunger after surgery. I have a full video course on hunger after bariatric surgery. It's inside my Premier Access membership. But in this video, I'm just going to summarize probably 5 of the main reasons why patients experience hunger control issues and what they can do about it after surgery. So reason number 1 is related to hydration. So maybe you're like, oh, I already knew that one. But just in case, it's one of the first places to start. Are you getting enough water? And that's because the area in the brain that tells you that you're hungry lives right next door to the one that tells you that you're thirsty. Hunger and thirst right next door to each other, and we get them mixed up. So the recommendation to go drink a glass of water if you feel hungry, it's not about, suppressing your appetite and skipping a meal as much as it is just identifying which one does your body really need, which cue are you responding to. So start with hydration. Unless it's like, no, this is mealtime and I definitely need to eat something. But if it's not a mealtime, you might start with water and see if it's actually a thirst-related cue. So that's reason number 1 is hydration. If you're not quite getting to 64 ounces, that would be a good cue to go ahead and increase water, or you may have needs that exceed beyond the recommendation of 64 ounces. It's not uncommon that patients need more like 96 ounces a day. Which leads me to reason number 2, also kind of related to water, is drinking with meals or too soon after. That can also increase hunger after surgery. So that's a common question, like, is this true always after surgery? You hear these recommendations after surgery and you're like, is that true for now or for always? So the fluid rule is for always. And that's because of the anatomy changes, that food moves through your pouch more quickly. So if we add liquid to it, early after surgery, it might not all fit. Maybe food is stuck and you try to drink something and that really doesn't help and you feel worse because you just added fluid to a really packed area. But further down the road, maybe it's not causing you trouble to drink with your meals, but what it's doing is moving the food through more quickly so you can eat more at that mealtime or get hungry sooner after that meal. The old recommendation to wait 30 minutes before eating, like you had to not drink for 30 minutes before your meal, that is no longer a recommendation. That's been, kind of archived. And now you can drink all the way up until your first bite. But when you start consuming your meal, put your fluids away. Ideally, your meal lasts 20 to 30 minutes. And then set a timer at the end of your meal for at least 30 minutes, but up to an hour after your meal before you start drinking again. If you are drinking plenty of water and you're waiting 30 minutes after your meal and you're still having a lot of hunger, you might try bumping up that time to go to 45 minutes or 60 minutes just to see if that could help. It could be different for everyone. So at least 30, but up to 60 minutes. After 60 minutes, we want you to start getting back going on your hydration again because of reason number 1. Reason number 3, we see a lot of hunger control issues after surgery is eating too fast. And if this is hard for you, comment below because you're not alone. This is a very, very hard habit when we're so busy and we're used to eating fast. We're used to not getting much time to eat a meal. But you might notice, like if you sit down at a nice restaurant, you have this, quality meal and you want to savor it and enjoy it, especially because it's expensive and you take your time, you might notice that you get full and you're like, oh, I wanted to eat more of that, but I'm full. Well, part of that's because you are talking, you are savoring, you're enjoying it. And the more time you give it, you're allowing your brain the chance to tell you when to stop. The brain takes about 20 minutes to identify fullness. So if we eat in 10 minutes, it's really easy to overeat and not know that we overate because the brain didn't keep up with it. Also, after surgery, we're getting food into such a tight little space. It's like a game of Tetris. If you go too fast or have too big of a bite, you're trying to get solid protein into a really restricted space, it's gonna stop up towards the top. And that will signal to the brain to stop eating it might be prematurely. So you think, oh, I need to stop eating, I'm done, but is more because you were stopping for discomfort rather than an actual fullness. So small bites, going slowly, it helps you to fill up at your mealtime and therefore be full for longer rather than feeling full off a small amount and getting hungry an hour later. It's really common. If you're doing that, the good news is you've got tips and tools to try a new way, and you can try it at your next meal. Reason number 4 that's really common for hunger after gastric sleeve or bypass would be eating too soft of protein textures. So we see this a lot. If somebody's hungry in the afternoon, maybe they're eating a tuna salad for lunch or a cheese stick wrapped in deli meat, something that's really soft in texture, maybe flaky fish at dinner or soups or protein shakes for breakfast. All good protein sources, but the texture makes a really big difference in hunger control. For more on that, I'll link a free handout in the description below that talks about the 3 categories of protein and why they make a difference. If someone is gravitating towards really soft things, and I look at their food journal, I'm like, oh, everything here is really soft or liquidy, it's usually a telltale sign that their bite sizes, their speed of eating need to be readdressed so that we can move back towards those solid foods and getting them to fit comfortably. So if you're gravitating away from solid protein and you're getting protein in these softer ways, I'd probably look towards bite sizes and speed so we can get you back to those more solid proteins because they help control your hunger better. Reason number 5 is going to be more carbohydrates than protein. And I'm not going to start in on all the questions around carbs in this video. I answer those all the time inside Premier Access. I'm happy to talk about carbohydrates. It's a whole thing, right? But for the purpose of hunger control, if your meals have more carbohydrate content than they do protein, it does get really hard to control your appetite. Protein first meals, again, those solid textured proteins, they fill you up and they keep you full. Carbohydrates, just by nature, they increase appetite, they increase our craving for more of them. And so it's not that we can't ever have them, but how we balance them and where we put them really matters. You can find out more about that inside my Food Fundamentals course inside Premier Access, because again, I know carbs bring up a ton of questions, but for this purpose, I would say just make sure we've got protein first, pair it with non-starchy vegetables, but be really mindful of carbohydrates. They make it really hard to control your appetite. And the final reason that I'll keep in this video, I would say, is related to exercise. If you're doing a lot of high intensity exercise, maybe high intensity interval training, or you're doing a couch to 5K, you're doing something with a lot of cardiovascular, your increased heart rate, you will crave more carbohydrates because when your heart rate gets increased like that, you are burning more from carbohydrate. You're using glycogen. It's this quick energy in your body. It's wonderful, but it's going to increase your craving for carbohydrate because that's what you're using up. So to burn more from fat in your fitness and exercise routines, when we do lower intensity like walking or water aerobics. Also, strength training is wonderful to preserve your muscle mass, increase calorie burn, increases your metabolism. So I love walking, low intensity cardio, and strength training because it helps you to control your appetite and to burn more from fat. But it's not that cardio is never a good idea. It's great for heart health, but how you exercise and how you incorporate that can make a big difference in your hunger control and your eating choices. So I know there's probably a lot more questions, but I hope that helps get you started on what you can do now to help control your appetite. Don't forget to check out those links below for more recommendations and resources, and stay tuned. We're going to be covering more on macros and calories on this channel very soon.